This is off of a 5.5 horsepower Tecumseh engine on a North Star power pressure washer, 2000 psi. Here's the labels. First thing you're going to need to do is take off the air filter cap, cover, and air filter. Next you're going to see two Phillips screws. And one last bolt, 1/4 inch. As long as your fuel tank is empty, you want to use a screwdriver to pry it off. Like that. And the crankcase vent hose. A little bit of oil on that. Next you're going to want to take off these two bolts here on the intake. One of them is a 9mm, the other is an 11. And the same thing on the other side. Alright, and now remember which hole the pin goes in on the throttle. This one's on that one. Take it off like that. Don't lose this piece. And you've got the carburetor off. Alright, the bolt nut is a 13mm. I've already loosened it. As you can see, the O-ring here is quite damaged and old, dried up. Now what you're going to need is take out the float pin. The float, which normally the needle would come out with it, but mine fell off. Inlet needle. Next you're going to take out the seat. So you can use a paper clip with a bend in it. Like that. Now what you're going to want to do, this is tiny. You're going to want to make sure that these holes in here are not blocked. And you can put it back in. Don't tighten it too much. Like that. If it's an older carburetor, you're going to have some varnish and other things building up on the side here. You can brush it gently, not too much, or you're going to start wrecking the metal. Okay, now all of your metal here should be pretty clean. Now I need to get a carburetor kit. Okay, I've just picked up the carb kit for this. And I thought I'd change these little O-rings here in the emulsion tube. And that's going to go right in there. And to start off, you can put in your seat. And you can use a drill bit. I'm using an 11/64. And when you put the seat in, you always want to make sure that you got this little part with the ridges going in first. Put it right in there. And then take your drill bit, the flat side, and then push that down. And it should go down even, but if you have the right size bit. And it looks like it's in. Alright, now we're going to replace the O-rings on the emulsion tube. So, just put something in there to push it down. And then this one popped out pretty easily. Alright, and this part on here is pretty dried up. I believe this is supposed to be the O-ring. So, that's really dried up. There it is. It's all cracked. And I'm going to replace replace that with these. Now there should be one more inside of here. Okay, and about getting that last O-ring out, probably spent 10 minutes turning. I've just been using this little paper clip. If you can see, I finally just about got that out. I had to put a little WD-40 in there to get it out. Once I did that, it came out pretty good. And you're going to want to clean that out with carb cleaner after you're done doing that. And there's the part. It's all dried up. And there they are. And the emulsion tube. I'll clean that and this little area with carb cleaner again, since I got WD-40 on it. And then after that, I'm going to reinstall my two O-rings. They were $2.50 each. Alright, so you'll just want to clean that up a little bit. Okay, and make sure to get the rest of that carb cleaner out of there. If you don't do that, a lot of the times the carb cleaner can make the O-rings expand a little bit, just enough so that you can't put them back in very easily. Okay, once that's dry, you're going to want to get your packages open. And if you want, you can clean up your emulsion tube with carb cleaner. And make sure to get that little hole on this side. Okay, once you've cleaned it up, you just dry that off. And you just want to make sure that the hole is clear, if anything. Same on this side. Okay, and you want that one line up on there. And then you want the second one just on this ridge. So they both should be in the ridges. Then you just insert it back in. This side first. And just push it all the way in. And you should feel it kind of snap in a little bit. And once it's all the way in, it should be sticking out about that much. Next, what you want to do is put your pin and slide it over the needle like this. And you want to put that on your float. And sometimes I want you to put the edge of the pin with the end coming off, going towards the side of the choke. In this case, it doesn't matter. Insert the needle in the inlet, and then you line up your holes on your float, and then you take the pin, after it's lined up, you slide it through like that, and it should sit level. Well, this one isn't quite level, and it goes down a little too far, so I'm going to adjust that. It was fine before I did it, but apparently the seat's just a little different. So what I'm going to do is, in order to keep the float level, it's going down too far. So what I need to do is, I need this to be bent out just a little bit more. Be careful not to break these two tabs in the bottom here. Like that. And that looks good. Just where it should be. Alright, now that that's working, you're going to want to put this on here all the way. Until it's sealed all the way even on all the sides. So now what you're going to do is line up the higher part of the bowl with the pin and make sure it goes on even. just like that, so it's even on all the sides. And then you're going to want to put this around your bowl nut and just screw it in. And that's going to be a 13 millimeter. And just tighten it up so it's snug. Not too tight. And it should look like this. Even on all the sides. It's a lot better than the old parts. And these are the parts that you should have replaced. I would suggest keeping your needle and your pin, because this is still usable. There's really nothing wrong with it. Now some of these needles have a different element on the tip, and if you had one of those, I would probably throw it out. But this one here is just all aluminum. I believe it's aluminum. So I would keep this. But all the rest of the stuff here is rubber and it's old, so I would throw this all out. Okay, when you're putting it back on, the first hole is the one that it goes in. And before you put your bolts in, you want to make sure that you put your gasket back in here. And then line up the 9mm bolts here. And your 11mm nuts. And then just tighten it up. And the one on the other side. And then put your fuel line back on. And your crank for your cement line. Now I have a fuel line clip. The previous one broke. They often break. So I'll just take some needle nose and bend it just a little bit to get it on. And just slide it on. Just a bit further, just past the end of the hose. And put it on. And then just slide it over the connector. Just like that. Okay, and next you're going to want to put those Phillips screws back on. I'll just get them started because there's a 1/4" bolt that has to go up here. Just start that one. You want to tighten these first so that it goes on even. Okay, then tighten up your 1/4" bolt. And your air filter goes in just like that. And then take these tabs on the bottom here, and line them up with the tabs on here. And if they're all lined up, you should be able to take your little plastic knob here and put it back on. Now this should be fairly tight because you need to keep the foam edges on your air filter tight with the case. And that's it. There it is. Make sure that this moves freely. And when you move the throttle on here, make sure that moves. And if anybody took this off, if anybody doesn't know, from the factory this was in the middle hole, the spring for the governor. All the linkages look like that. And that's it. Now I'm not going to be running this this year because I am putting this away for the winter. But the next summer when I use it, I'll post a link in the bottom of the video of when I start it up so that it starts. Because this is, I've got to get all the water out of this pump, and then maybe run some pump saver through it. And then I'm going to store it in here for the winter.